Hello, 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 and welcome to Rainbows Rising, where we ascend together. I'm your host, Rainbow Raja. I'm a shamanic bodywork therapist and life coach, and I am here to help you gain sovereignty over your mind, your body, and your spirit so that you can rule your reality. In this podcast, we cover spiritual practices, mindfulness practices, and practical things that you can do to regain harmony and balance in your everyday life. So welcome. This month we are covering the Akashic field, universal consciousness, the field in which all knowledge and information and DNA is stored. A lot of people refer to this field through the Akashic Records, and it is where a lot of artists get their inspiration and musicians get their inspiration. It is channeled through the ethers into our body. Last week we talked about how that's possible and how humans, are able to do this and what that means for you and how you can start to do that yourself. This week I'm going to give you some practices that you can start to play with the Akash, or you can start to develop your relationship with this field. But before we begin today's Akashic practices, we need to do some foundational practices for energetic safety and to ensure that we are able to return to our own frequency without alteration. So if you haven't listened to our show before, don't worry, I'm going to take you through some of these beginner foundational practices, and we're going to go pretty quickly. So if it's too fast for you, that just means you got to start at the beginning of the podcast in season 1, episode 1, and just work your way forward. And we'll be here for you when you're ready. But just for today, I'm hoping that most of you have learned these foundational practices, as I do tend to cover them, so that we can do these more advanced practices. So the first thing I need for you to do is to put your feet on the ground. Take a nice deep breath into your body and really collect yourself. Notice the space outside of yourself. Notice the space inside of you. Get still. Take a deep breath. As you breathe into your body, we're just going to notice where our focus is in our body. Mine is in my chest, in my heart. And so as I breathe out, I am going to gently move that energy through my heart space, down my torso, into my navel. I'm going to breathe in again, gather myself. And I'm going to breathe down through my navel, down into my pelvis, down into my thighs. Take a nice deep breath in and gather yourself. And as you breathe down, you're breathing out through your knees, down through your calves, down into your ankles, down into your feet. Really notice the tips of your toes. Notice the soles of your feet. Notice the tops of your feet and your heels. You should have a pretty strong sensory or spatial awareness of your feet. Mine are tingling or throbbing and feeling as if they are expanding and contracting with energy. This is what we want. This is where our soul is bringing full undivided attention to our feet. And I'm going to take a deep breath and gather myself again. We are going to breathe down through the soles of our feet into the earth below. Growing roots. Relaxing into the floor, noticing the sensation of gravity, the weight of gravity pressing in on us. And I'm going to allow myself to sink deeper into the floor with each breath. You're just going to hold your awareness with your tendrils deep down into the earth. Feel it deep. That is step one. That is grounding yourself. That is how we are going to discharge any excess energy that doesn't belong to us into the ground. And that will allow us to become an empty vessel so that we can have a dialogue with the Akash that is not tainted by our biases, that is not interfered with any projections or expectations that we ourselves are holding. And that'll allow ourselves to become peaceful and ready to receive. So, second step of our foundations is we're going to do a centering practice. So now we are grounded. We are anchored into the earth. Now we have to bring in our aura and our energy and kind of center it into the center of our body. So we've expanded down into the earth where we've created a circuit with the earth. Now we are going to pull all of our energy in to our core, into our heart. So breathing in. Into your heart. And as you breathe out, you're going to imagine opening a little wedge or a little sliver and folding yourself in. The second practice we're going to do is centering. So what I'd like you to do is you're going to place your hands together. The reason that we're placing our hands together is your right side is your masculine side, that is your yang, and your left side is your feminine side, and that is your yin. When we place our hands together and we breathe, our hands create a circuit. We already have a circuit connected to the earth. We are creating a second circuit with our hands. This is activating our toroidal field, which is our energy body, our auric field, and it kind of moves like this, energetically. So, we are going to imagine that energy moving inward, into our center. So you want to imagine two energetic waves that fold into the center of your body as you breathe in. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to breathe in, fold it into your center, and as you breathe out, you're going to bring it back around until it's about here. So I'm going to use my hands. You're going to have your hands together. We're going to breathe in. And that is the visualization I want you to have, is as you breathe in, you are drawing energy in from your yang and your yin side. You're pulling it into your heart center, a sliver in your heart center, a wedge in your heart center, and you're pulling it through like a thread through the eye of a needle, and you're allowing it to circle back around you and back through you. So you're creating a vortex inside of your own heart. Ready? We're going to do about 10 of those breaths, okay? So ready? 1, 2, 3, breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe your energy into your heart. And through your back and out around. Breathe it around your shoulders and into your heart again. And breathe it out through your back and around your arms. You're doing great. Breathing it into your heart again. And out around. Now, doing this type of breathing can induce altered states of consciousness. So if you start to feel a little loopy or a little dizzy, that is completely normal because you are opening energetic centers in your body, and those energetic centers are then cycling more energy through your third eye, through your chakras, and through all of the vortexes in your body that need to receive information for you to be able to do Akashic work. So, third practice is we're actually going to pull our aura. We're going to pull our aura to our skin. Ready? So, how we do that is you're going to close your eyes and you are just going to take a deep breath. And as you breathe out, you're going to notice where the edges of your aura is. Your aura is an energy bubble that is cast around your being. And I just want you to feel. Some people will feel their aura on their skin. Some people will feel it several inches or feet away from them. Some people will feel like their aura has encompassed an entire city. That is all fine and dandy. You might even feel like your aura is like to the right or to the left or above you or below you. That's super fine too. Our goal is we are going to calibrate our aura to shrink. So it's a second skin on our body. So first you have to find your aura with your sensory awareness. So breathing out or breathing in. And as I breathe out, I'm going to find the edges of my aura. So my aura is about 3 or 4 feet around me in all directions with kind of a point at the top of my head. So what I'm going to do is on my in-breath, I'm going to pull it towards me. On my out-breath, I'm just going to relax my energy. And as I breathe in, I'm pulling my energy towards me. And as I breathe out, I'm going to start releasing my energy out through the top of my auric field. This is going to allow any energy that is not mine to escape and to rise out and up through my aura. So, breathing in, pulling my aura closer to my body, and I'm going to breathe out and release any tension out through the top of my auric field. I'm going to go ahead and breathe in my aura again, pulling it closer to my body, and as I breathe out, I'm releasing any and all tension out through the top of my head. Breathing my aura to my skin again. And breathing it out through the top of my head. Breathing in my aura. Breathing out through the top of my head. One more time, breathing in my aura. All right. Now we've grounded ourselves directly into the earth with some roots, opened up our first circuit. Then we centered ourselves into our heart, opened up our second circuit. Our third practice pulled our energy close to our body and released everything that was not ours up through the top of our crown chakra. Now we are going to do an energy shield, which is going to seal our aura into a bubble of protection so that nothing can interfere with us connecting to the Akashic Records. Because you really, truly only want to be receiving information from pure spirit, and pure spirit is found within you, not outside of you. So we are going to imagine from the soles of your feet where we had started these practices, you're going to imagine a little disc or a plate growing beneath your feet in the strongest material you can imagine. So for me, I've got these like plasma kind of like metallic plates that are made out of like mercury-like material. So right now they're just right beneath my feet. I have these very powerful like liquid metallic plates. And what we're going to do is with every single breath, we're going to expand those metallic plates or whatever you might have. Tree bark, you might have crystals, you might have just light or color. Whatever your shield is right for you. But make sure you're picking something that makes you feel safe and joyful and something that you feel protected by. Something that's going to keep out darkness and only let in the light for you. Intention is everything when doing any of these practices. So let's go ahead and bring our full attention to the soles of our feet. We're going to breathe in and we're going to expand. Breathe in, allow it to relax, and expand. Once it gets wide enough, you're going to start pulling the edges of your shield up like a bowl. So ready, breathe in, breathe in. So mine just sealed at the top, so I'm sitting inside of a big metallic egg. And these practices do make me a little sleepy, a little drowsy, because I start to feel very safe and comfortable in them. So if you start to feel calm, safe, not getting as much stimulus, that's why. So now that we have our shield, we've grounded, we've centered, and we've opened up our crown chakra when we were sending energy out through the top of our head, here are some practices where you can connect to the Akashic field. The first one I want to go over, I'm going to start with some basic beginner practices and work my way into more advanced practices. So a really easy way to start working with the Akashic field is to keep a dream journal next to your bed. And you would ask a question before you go to sleep. Write down your question in your dream journal. I do have a journal that has dream entries. Please go check it out if you haven't already. It's on Amazon. It's $14. Super affordable. It has a lot of entries, but it does allow you to track your dreams. So ask a question before sleep. A question that you genuinely have some emotional investment in, something that you're really curious about, and then you go to sleep. And you want to make sure that you record your dreams in the morning. Now, another way you can record your dreams is you set a 3-hour timer, and that timer goes off in the middle of the night, and you write down your dreams, whether you can see the piece of paper or not, and you just write them down. You want to make sure you're writing down all symbols, all feelings, all impressions. And you might have to actually do this like more than once, especially if you're new to dream journaling and you're not doing it every single night. You might not get something for the first couple of nights, but keep with it, because your subconscious is going to realize after, 2 or 3 times asking, this person actually does want to communicate with me. I'm going to go ahead and communicate back. So that would be a beginner practice to be like, hey, I'm interested in seeing what comes up from my subconscious, what comes up from the conscious universe. A practice that I actually learned from a colleague of mine. He interacts with the conscious universe. We covered this practice in our course From Victim to Valiant, where we went through a lot of foundational practices to help people with trauma or neurodivergent people learn how to manage their symptoms and overstimulation and their trauma cycles, and how to change their mindset from victim mindset to invincible mindset. And in that course From Victim to Valiant, he talked about working with the conscious universe. That is where you take a walk, a conscious walk. You go, I'm going to go out today and I'm going to take a walk. And you set the intention that on this walk, you are going to have a conversation with the universe. And as you walk, you make sure you leave your phone behind, you leave your headphones behind. And before you go on this walk, you say, hey, universe, I want to talk. I'm ready to have a discussion with you. these are the things I want to talk to you. And as you start to walk, you ask for confirmations. Hey, universe, please send me messages, send me confirmations. I'm going to just start talking about my life and things that are going on. Please send confirmations at the right time. And you start to notice different animals, different events that happen, that come up for you, that create synchronicities, that create moments where you stop and go, that was different. And you start to record them, whether you record them mentally or you record them in a notebook. Your goal is to take a medium-ish walk in the wild, having a dialogue with the universe and consciously asking for confirmation, asking for a dialogue back. But you have to be able to pause and observe and listen. So you want to speak your questions on this walk, either in your head or in your mind, to the universe, to the Akash, and you request that a sign be repeated 3 times by the end of your walk. And that way you can get the answer to your question before you get to the end of the walk. Because a lot of times the Akashic field holds information. So it does require a stillness, a listening, and an observance to be able to receive answers and to be able to receive guidance. So you want to make sure that you are in a still, calm place where you don't have distractions, where you are able to breathe and bring yourself to a state of stillness. And in this state of stillness, you ask your question and you close your eyes and you receive impressions behind your eyelids, whether they're emotions, whether they're colors, whether they're images or visions, or it could just be body sensations, it could be smells, it could be tastes, whatever comes up. You're going to just listen to your body and see what impressions you get through that practice. So a more advanced way of interacting with the Akash would be channeling. And I am excited to be able to introduce you guys to channeling. And because we've done our grounding, our protection, our centering, and our shield, I feel really confident that you could get into a channeling state without worrying about there being interference from something that isn't desired. So I'm going to preface all channeling with you are always, always in control of your body. No matter what anything tells you in your head, you are in control of your vessel. It is your vessel. Your thoughts are something you can control. Your emotions are something you can control. Especially if something is talking to you, you can kick them out. So no matter what it is, I need you to have confidence in knowing that if something comes in and it does not give you a positive feeling, it doesn't make you feel safe, it doesn't make you feel balanced and calm, if it doesn't seem to allow you to call the shots, boot it out. It's not for you. There should be no guides telling you that you have a mission, that you don't get to say no to it, that this is absolutely dire or your life is, gonna end, or that there's horrible things that are gonna happen to you if you don't do what it tells you to do. No. If you're getting any of that, you have encountered what's called a trickster spirit. They are entities, beings that pretend to be guides, to utilize your energy and feed off of your ignorance. And they pretty much harness your light and your energy and your life force to feed their existence. And they drain you dry so that you aren't able to stay focused on your actual tasks and what you're actually supposed to be doing. So just be very mindful that when you are channeling, no matter what guide or being it is, ultimately you get to decide if you want to communicate with it, if it's allowed in your reality. So if you don't like something, kick it out. So with channeling, we are in a receptive state. We have done our grounding. We have done our heart opening. We shielded ourselves, and now I'm just cultivating a little bit of stillness. I'm going to use my breath and do a Ujjayi breath, Hara breathing. Now that you're in a receptive place, ask a question. You're going to listen. You might notice your body naturally wanting to change positions. You're taking a back seat where you're just observing. You're allowing your body to make whatever adjustments it needs to feel comfortable. And then you will be able to harness the energy of a guide. We wait on the threshold of the realm to connect with you, to bring you insight, to answer your questions, and to guide you so you may truly enjoy all the wonderful resources available to you. Make sure that you record any and all impressions when you are channeling. It does feel a little strange at the beginning. You will question yourself. It's important to just dialogue with your guides so that you can begin to trust who comes in, ask them their names, ask them any identification questions that you'd like. And you can also do this if you are someone who doesn't have a lot of confidence and trust in what you're receiving through your mind. And you're like, oh, maybe I'm creating it all on my own. Another good practice is automatic writing. So that's where you take a piece of paper, you call in a guide. You can choose a specific guide. You could be like, please, Cleopatra, come talk to me. You could be like, hey, Robin Williams, I'd love to have a conversation. Call someone in, but you have to really feel that connection in your heart. You're going to write down a question, and then you are just going to write continuously without editing, without looking at what you're writing. You're going to trust that your hand is just going to go and it's going to do what it needs to do. And you are just going to allow what comes out of you to come out of you. And once your hand stops, you can read through it without judging. And you can review what comes up. It might be a bunch of gibberish, and that's totally fine. A lot of these practices are things you'll have to practice more than once. And so you have to be really patient with yourself, and you have to be patient with the practice. These are muscles that you are exercising. We can't do 100 sit-ups in the first go. So make sure that you continue to practice so that you can really get the most out of the practice. So another practice that I would like to encourage you to try, this is a repeatable training mechanic where you can record initial impressions or delayed downloads when they arrive in your life. So if you're going about your day and you suddenly remember like a song that you haven't heard in 10 years and you're like, oh my gosh, this song, what does this song mean? Remember the song, and when you've stopped driving, write down the song. Then you're like going about your day and you're like hearing a phrase in your mind that is repeating. And you're like, huh, what's this phrase that's repeating? Write down the phrase. And then at the end of the day, you'll have a list of random kind of things that you were just doing absent-mindedly. And those absent-minded things that are downloads that are just coming through are going to give you insights. They might give you visions. They might give you information as to like different perspectives of situations you're going through. Looking up the lyrics to songs is always a really good idea. You might have to look up, what a totem animal means or what something means. But the best way before looking things up is, how do you view that animal? How do you relate to that imagery? How do you feel about that song? What does that song say to you? And if you can discern and decipher these symbols and what they mean for you, that is the answer, always. It should always come down to what these symbols, what these messages mean to you. It's using your discernment. Don't just go looking things up right away. It's about learning to trust what comes through you, learning to trust your first instinct. And if you can keep a pretty good track record of these synchronicities, and every time they come up, you're genuinely grateful, like, thank you for that song. I realize what it means. It means this. Thank you so much for sending me that really cool animal on the side of the road the other day. I was watching it frolic in the grass as I drove past it. It was really cool. And I found out that the animal meant this. It's those kinds of things that if you can take the time to connect with the meaning that this animal has for you and how it relates to your life, you are going to be able to track your downloads, and you might even be able to predict future events if you're really good at tracking things. So here's some pretty advanced practices that I do recommend you try. So you can actually use the Akash to experience life through another person's eyes or through their emotions. I'm going to preface this practice with saying that you should only be doing this practice as a way to better understand someone, their perspective, and their views, and to better understand their emotions. So it's all about understanding and having compassion and love and empathy. This practice should not be used to manipulate or alter people's memories or views. Do not alter their thoughts. Do not manipulate their thoughts. Do not implant feelings. Do not manipulate their feelings. It is not about changing. It is about experiencing and observing. So you should be able to use this practice ethically on someone to understand their perspective. Should you choose not to use this practice ethically, just know that impeding on someone's free will and doing any kind of astral manipulation is considered to have a very high cost on the karmic scale. And I'm not responsible for your free will choices. So, however you want to use this practice is totally up to you. But I am giving you an advanced warning that utilizing this skill to harm others will have long-term implications. So, you are able to use this practice for the sake of having experiences you don't want to personally experience, being able to have true empathy for the suffering or the experience another person is having, and how to cultivate deeper levels of compassion for someone. This practice is really, really good for those purposes. So, this is what we're going to do. We're going to close our eyes and we're going to think of a friend, a relative, or someone you know. And we're doing more than just thinking of what they look like. We want to use our body and our sensory memory to think about how they feel. What does their essence feel like? I want you to tune into their essence. So I'm going to do this with you so I can guide you through it. Taking a deep breath into my body, I'm going to choose someone. I'm not going to speak their name aloud, but I'm going to choose them. And I'm going to use my breath as a way to hone in on their signature, their energetic signature. What does their energy feel like? And I am going to invite their energy and my energy to merge into one, where I feel as if I am stepping into them. You want to invite them into you. You're going to start to notice how you feel different, how they feel different than you, ways that they hold their body. You might notice pains. You might notice emotions. You want to invite these new sensations deeper so that you can really embody this new skin, right? So this should almost feel like you're stepping into someone else's skin. And allow yourself to really relax into their experience, into their feelings. What emotions arise? Allow yourself to really see life through their eyes. So for me, I can feel this overwhelming sense of just sadness, almost like a dread. It's just kind of like just so blah about my life. Like I'm just really disappointed and don't feel I don't feel like moving forward. I just feel heavy. I just want to distract myself. Like, that's how I feel right now. It's just like, I just want to distract myself. I want to do something else. I want to do something else. And these are not my feelings. This is the person I'm tuning into and how they're feeling. And so, as you're experiencing these emotions, as you're experiencing their environment, write down your impressions, ask whatever questions you need to in order to better understand them. I'm going to do it in my head. So for me, I got the answer I was looking for. And in response, I felt like deep emotions like disgust and jealousy and envy. And so I was able to get to the bottom of my question by feeling the emotions and kind of seeing through their eyes. So you always want to trust your first instinct and get the answers to your questions that you're seeking through trusting those instincts. Okay. The next thing, you can do a visualization or meditation into the past to alchemize those feelings or experiences, and to feel better about the choices that you made. So, I like to do this with moments in my life where I was like, well, what would have happened if I chose this instead? What would have happened if I was still here or if I'd done, whatever when I was given the opportunity? What would happen if I'm still with my ex, right? So this is that practice where we can actually put ourselves at that fork in our life and we can allow the Akash to fill in the blank for what would have happened. And because all time and space, past, present, and future, and all the timelines in between are all recorded in the Akash, you can actually play it out like a movie in your ancient eye or your internal visualization board, whatever. So this is really, really a useful practice for returning to moments in your life where you weren't really sure if you made the right choice, or if you're really curious, like, what would have happened if I'd done this instead? I have done this practice a lot of times for opportunities that slipped by, and I was like, hey, where would have that taken me? And I know everything has happened for a reason, so that's given me a lot of peace to see where it ended up and going, I feel glad I didn't go that way. I'm glad I am where I am. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to close your eyes. You're going to choose a moment with a strong emotional connection. This is going to allow you to really tune into that vivid recall of that moment. So I'm going to remember, I'm going to choose the memory where I was in my mother's backyard and the first guy that I was with for 5 years, I was pregnant and I had just found out that he had been lying about his jobs. And I always wondered if I hadn't let him leave, what would have happened? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to go back to that moment where my emotions were really heightened, where my life was falling apart in that moment. I'm going to allow myself to feel those emotions, not all the way, just enough to get an access point for that memory. And instead of allowing him to leave my mom's house, I'm going to run after him and stop him. And I'm going to give some long-winded speech on how I don't care that he lied about his job and that I don't care that he's an alcoholic and that we deserve to be together and we could raise a family and it'll be great. That's not how that went. But let's see where that goes. So for you, you're going to feel that emotion. You're going to have that vivid recall. You're going to go back to that moment, that entry point. And you're going to allow yourself to fuse with your past self. And in that fusion, you are going to utilize your future self's wisdom and what you need to say and do in order to change that moment in time to go in a different direction and allow yourself to make that different choice. So here I am in this moment making that different choice. And I'm seeing myself and him embracing in the backyard and crying and there being this like dramatic moment of reconciliation and him saying that he's really going to try harder, that he's going to be honest, he's going to stop drinking, he's making a lot of empty promises. And now, because I'm relaxing into this memory, which is the most important thing, the more you relax, the faster the memory is going to speed up. So make sure that you're really relaxing. I see myself at my daughter's birth. He is not there. I am alone with my mother, and I am just inconsolable. I am in pain. I am scared, and I am desperate. I'm so desperate to find him, but I'm like in the hospital room. He's not answering his phone. He's not answering. He's not there. I see the baby being born under really difficult conditions and excuses coming through on my text messages. And I'm fast forwarding. I see us living with my parents. I see a lot of happiness, but also a lot of dishonesty from him, where he'd like go off and pretend to have a job and come home and not actually have a job. I see my daughter meeting his family. That's nice. And now us living in a trailer park. And he's an alcoholic. And I'm just at home with the kid all the time. And he gives me excuses for why he's never around. So that's what I see. Allow yourself, go into that entry point and allow yourself to fuse with your past self. And in that fusion, you can use your future self's wisdom and see what happens. Allow yourself to make a different choice in this meditation. Allow yourself to see what relax fully into that memory and into the process, so that these experiences and the time continuum around that alternate reality can remain uninterrupted and play out in a relaxed and quick pace. You will see your experience through that choice unfold in your ancient eyes. And seeing what would come might help ground you in the choices you made when you made them. It will happen very quickly for your physical body. These memories will come up very, very quickly. But the more relaxed and immersed you are in your own mind's eye, the more intensely you will experience the memories in your mind. And at a certain point, you will have caught up to where you are now and have the lesson that path was meant to teach you. So if you get through to the present and you haven't seen your lesson just yet, allow the timeline to continue unfolding until the lesson does reveal itself, and then you can write down your findings and you will understand why you made the choice that you did and why that particular choice is most aligned for you now. So there is another practice that I would like to encourage you guys to try. So I encourage you right now to go and grab yourself some art supplies, because as we close out today's episode, we are going to lead into a artistic intuitive art session. So I'm going to give you guys a moment to pause the show and go get yourself some art supplies. It can be anything. Did you get your art supplies? Great. What we're going to do is we're going to close our eyes and we're going to sink into our heart space. We're going to bring our awareness and fold it into that little crack or crevice that we had made earlier to do that centering practice. And we're going to fold into that crack or crevice. And we're going to welcome the velvety darkness of the void within our heart space. I would like you to really close your eyes. Really sink deep into the center of your heart. You have nowhere to be. You have nothing to do. You just have to breathe and be in that space in the center of your being. Relax into that space. We're going to welcome a message from your higher self in this space. While you're in this space, you're setting your intention to receive a message from your higher self. Ask your higher self, what do I really need to know right now? What message do you have to share with me? What does the Akash need me to see, to feel, to be, to become? Don't leave the space. Bask in it. You should be suspended in this space in a way that makes the air feel like it is holding its breath for you. Where you forget your attachment to this reality, where you forget your identity, where you drift into the vast void that is all and none. You're not going to be able to do that fully with me here. But I encourage you to do your best to cultivate that space. And when you get that sensation, that expansive feeling of stillness and nothingness, where nothing matters, because nothing is, and everything is, and you totally forgot you were human, and that you were connected to this body, and that we're doing a practice. So once you connect to that, you're going to allow that moment to stretch and stall and expand and embrace all that is, opening yourself up completely and relaxing your mind and your muscles and your expectations and your beingness. And allow yourself just to float on that feeling. We're going to return to our body. We're going to absorb whatever that message was. You may not have heard it. You may have only felt it. But you're going to absorb that message. We're going to notice any differences in our body. We're going to pull out our piece of paper and we are going to pull out our art supplies. And we are just going to close our eyes and we're going to allow our art supplies to move across the page in whatever way it needs to. And as you're working in this space of Akashic inspiration, stay in that altered state of expansion. Stay in that altered state of awareness. And you're just doodling. You're just doodling. You're doodling whatever comes up. It doesn't have to make sense. You're just gonna draw. You're gonna draw. Sometimes I close my eyes the entire time. If you're new to this practice, I encourage you to just listen to your body and follow whatever feels right for you. So, for this practice, for those of you out there that are doing this practice with me, I'm going to continue allowing this music to go on. And I would really love for you guys to continue drawing and coloring and doing art for as long as possible to enjoy this channeling practice that I've facilitated for you. And if you would like to share your art with me and maybe get it personally interpreted, I encourage you to join the free Patreon where I post different practices from the show, where I release my art and where I release my other things that I do, including the Rainbows Rising app that is coming to an app store near you in the near future. The patrons on my Patreon will be the first ones to beta test this app. So I encourage you to join the Patreon so that you get access to the first round of this app. This app will be teaching you all the practices that I have covered on the show thus far, making it an easy to follow daily practice for you. So I hope that you're interested in joining the Patreon and checking that out. I look forward to seeing your guys' art. Next week, we have Jessica Marie. She is an Akashic Records master of the Sophia lineage, and she will be sharing her experience with working with the Akashic field. And she's even going to share practice on how to read your own Akashic record. So please do join us next week for that exciting session. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some music so that you can sit and do your creative art practice. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'm so grateful that you're here on this journey with me and allowing me to be a part of yours. Let's keep ascending together. Bye.